fox cub on the road. Hello. The mother was there and she just run off. It'll last long if it's tame. Somewhere over there is the mother fox.
The mowing machine rolls on. Today I'm going to be focusing just on the lawns around the house. I won't worry about the wider lawns today. It's a bit suboptimal because it's been quite a lot of rain lately, and I would normally prefer the lawn to be a bit drier, but we are going away to Tasmania at the end of this week, and we'll be in Melbourne as well for a few days on top of that. So it's sort of now or never for this job, and I sort of like the idea of coming back to a nice and tidy home. But speaking of the rain, I thought I'd quickly update you on how Operation Cutting Channels in the concrete gutter went in order to try and keep this area drier, and yeah, it's gone pretty well. There's a little bit of standing water there, but considering the amount of rain we've had, without these channels, this whole area would probably still be flooded. So anyway, yes, I'm very pleased with that, and I thought I'd just show you that simple solution seems to have done the trick. Now all I need to do is finish digging it and do the same for the rest of the gutter. Good morning. It's a sunny but windy day today, and actually there was a bit of snowiness-ish in the rain a couple of days ago, so the weather's all over the place considering we're not that far off of summer. Anyway, that aside, I'm going to be doing some mowing this morning on my ride-on mower. It just occurred to me, we're going away today, later today, to begin our trip, our sort of staggered trip. It's coming in stages to get to Tasmania to do the Point to Pinnacle. And one of the reasons I'm mowing the lawn is because I think to myself, oh, should Will and I die, I wouldn't want people to come to our house and think that we were messy and untidy. Does anyone else think like that? Anyway, the lawns do sort of need a mow, and we'll be gone for about a week. So there'll be even more requiring a mow by then. So I am doing it because it needs it. But yeah, partly motivated by I don't want people to think we're slovenly, were we to die and they came by our property to clear our estate. Anyway, maybe that's just me, but I'm going to crack on with that. And then I've got some garden stuff to do to get ready before we go too. So that's just going to be a little bit of watering, a little bit of fertilising, but hopefully it'll tick over whilst we're away. Not much to write home about when it comes to that. I'll catch up with you at some point in the future, maybe mid-task or maybe en route. I mostly did all the mowing that I wanted to do, not quite all of it, doesn't matter. You may notice that the mower is up on the jack, and that's because there's a stump which is the bane of my life, and I appear to have hit it with this blade, and you might be able to see it appears to have bent it out of shape so that when I was mowing along I started gouging the lawn. If I try and spin the blade, you may be able to see how the other side of it's got a bit more of an upward facing slant, whereas this one's distinctly slanting downwards. not to worry, because actually the other side's got a new blade on it, which is this. So they come in pairs, but we only really needed to put the one on. I know it's best practice to replace both blades at the same time, but the blade which is now bent was fine, so we kept this one. But now that blade is bent, I'm keen to replace it with this one. However, I've tried and tried and tried, and I just can't undo the bolt. I've jacked it up because in some respects, like the gold standard way of going about it is removing the cutting deck. But although they say that the LA115 is like the simplest cutting deck to remove, it does still mean taking out all sorts of clips and nuts and bolts and dragging it out, and like then having to reattach it, and that's quite difficult actually, especially when you're on your own. So I'm at a bit of a dead end with this. I'm hoping that when Will gets home, he might be able to help me. Stage 2 would be to flip it. Just you flip it so that the air filter side is facing up, and then stage 3 would be removing the cutting deck. Although we're going away, so it doesn't really matter, it can wait. I sort of prefer not to have to come home to this. But anyway, we'll see. I've done the important parts of the lawns, the bits of the lawn that are visible to anyone that comes up to the house. The bit I wanted to do, which I haven't been able to do, is the bit around the hammock area. Basically targeting the lawns which I know grows really quickly. We seem to have a sort of range of grass here, some of which grows really quickly, some of which grows really slowly. I think in part that's to do with the fertility of the soil underneath. Certainly the orchard grass grows very quickly, but that is a very fertile part of the garden. Anyway, I'll let you know when I know what's happening. In some respects, I'm very, very keen to do a proper overhaul of both of my ride-ons, not alone. My father-in-law's very, very good at that sort of thing, but that would involve getting in quite a lot of bits and pieces like cutting blades. The other mower probably needs a new battery. I'd need new engine oil and stuff, because probably I'd want to drain the oil. May even need to get something like a ramp, so that in future this can be done not by having to lie on the ground. I don't know, I've seen people who've got like motorized jacks which dangle from their ceiling. That would be amazing, but maybe not something that our current electricity supply down here could handle. So yes, I'm at a bit of a dead end until Will gets home, but what I might try and do is see if right now I can take out that wretched stump. Whilst I can't take care of the mower on my own, I've taken care, I hope, of the wretched stump which keeps interfering with the lawnmower. I came out with the reciprocating saw and kind of chipped away at it as best as I could, and then I've stamped a load of garden soil onto the top of it. So hopefully, once the mower's been replaced, this stump will no longer pose such a threat to future mower blades. If you've been watching for a while, you'll know that at certain times of year we tend to get rats living in the house. Not so much in the house, like we don't tend to see them, but there's gaps between the walls, between like the outside wall and the interior wall, pretty normal, and they're able to get under the house and into the cavity between the interior and exterior walls, and they run around and it's very irritating. We're not plagued by them. Whenever I've set the humane trap, the most I've sort of ever caught in any one time is 2. So it seems to be like we tend to get invaded by a solo or a pair of rats looking for a place to hunker down over winter. It's very irritating. We don't like to kill them. We like rats. I used to have a pet rat, but I tried for ages to work out how they get into the house. Like catching them once they're in the house is one thing, but what I prefer to do is to prevent them getting in. And then, a stroke of luck, one night I came outside to feed a possum and I heard this bang by the washing machine, And I looked down and I could see 2 rats going into the house and under the house behind the washing machine. So I think I have found how they get into the house. So I have pulled the washing machine out a bit. Unfortunately, this is as much as I'm able to pull it out because of all the cables and wires and stuff. But essentially, I think they're getting in under there. So what I'm going to try to do is plug that gap as best as I can with the materials I have to hand. As you can see, like, we've got gutter guard going all around the exterior of the property, around these air bricks, so I just couldn't understand how they could get in, but I think this is the weak point. So I'm going to block it with aluminium foil, which I've seen other people do, at least for the time being, and hopefully whilst we're away that will keep them out. I did actually catch a rat yesterday. I didn't film it, but I hope that's the only one that's in there. And then hopefully by the time we get back, I can do something a bit more permanent after that. But this will keep them out until then.